Tanaka. Hey, all this is just for 6 games of rugby, eh? I've heard they're pretty important. The last 4 weeks, it's been very intensive. So you get into these sort of rhythm of training and performance and constantly thinking about which the best combinations are. Have the boys got to the right levels? By last weekend, I wanted to see as many ticks by the boys' names to know that they would reach the prerequisites. And you really just get lost in everything that's happening. You forget about everything else in your life and you're consumed by this one journey that we're taking at the moment. You can't remember, sometimes you can't remember who your wife is, and that's not always a bad thing. You can't remember what day it is, but it's great to be here on Wednesday evening in Suva, and don't worry, I knew it was Saturday. I wrote it on my hand, because I need to write a lot of things down at the moment. This has been a quite extraordinary 4 weeks of training. The boys have had these 3 weeks off post the World Series, and the plan for the whole World Series was to win tournaments and retain our title, but make sure that the boys were a little bit, I guess the kind word is a little bit insulated, a little bit padded, so that we weren't going to get the injuries along the way. And so the boys were probably 20 or 30% down on the fitness they were the previous year. But what it allowed us to do was rotate the squad a little bit more and protect the boys from injuries. And we got to the final tournament in London, and we haven't suffered any injuries. We had a full group of players, as well as the boys that have come in from overseas. We had a number of overseas players that came in and played in the last 2 legs, and a couple that also played in Hong Kong. And they all came into camp 4 weeks ago. Overweight, not significantly, but a little bit overweight. And every day, in the mornings and the evenings, we weigh them. Every day, we'll make sure that they're moving in the right direction. And it doesn't matter if it was slow, as long as they were going forward and not going backwards. We changed their diets. We took carbohydrates out, gone with the breads, the sugars, the rice, the pastas, the cassava, the dal. And in was lean meats, salads, lots of water, and it started to reap the dividends. The boys really bought into it, as did the girls, and we started to see everybody move up and up and up, slowly but surely. I remember a story once of a group of athletes that I was at university with, and they were swimmers competing and trying to get into the Olympic Games. And one of them had to knock off a second to get the qualifier that they thought would be a medal contention for the Olympic Games. And they had 4 years to knock that down, that single second. So they looked at it like, well, if we can knock a tenth of a second off in the next 2 months, and then we keep going from that, small progress, you'll eventually get to your end results. And that's what we've been doing. We haven't tried to get to a point where we're going to burn them out or over-fatigue them. We slowly pushed it up. There's been times where we felt that we've had to put the brakes on and relax what we're doing in training. You can feel the tiredness and the fatigue setting in. Give them a little bit of time off to rest and then hit them hard again. We've been using our natural environment, the amazing World Heritage Site at Singatoka Sand Dunes. It's been the spine of what we've been doing in the fitness. We've been getting them ploughing up and down those sand dunes. Another our conditioner has done an amazing job with William and Jen, our 2 physios, and Matt, to get the men's and the women's teams to that level. And they quickly get strong in the sand. And then we've been going back to Pacific Harbour, where we've been working them incredibly hard on the field. And we had a games last week on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, where we played the equivalent of just over 4 hours of full contact rugby. In context, that was 17 games, so 3 back-to-back tournaments, a tournament a day effectively, to see whether we had a robust team, and for boys to start to go head-to-head against each other, to get the peck in order and to get a bit more clarity in my head. I knew I was going to have difficult decisions, and you want difficult decisions. You don't want to have an easy 12, because that will show we haven't any depth and we haven't any competition. And last night, I sat in Bure 12, I think it was, in the uprising, and one by one, the boys came in, and one by one, we told them their fate. And to a man, they were outstanding in how they took their news. And it reminded me of Rudyard Kipling's poem, If. When they got selected, they didn't jump up and down, they didn't holler and scream. They Some of them smiled a lot. There were one or two with tears, but they took it like men. And when they weren't selected, they shook my hand, they thanked us for the efforts, and they left with their heads held high. And I told them that selection is not going to define them as a person, and we all have our bad days and our good days. And the boys that walked out of those rooms, there were 2 or 3 at least 19-year-olds that I know will be absolute stellar standouts for Fiji in the future. So we did all of that, and then today we had a police escort on our way through, which was my highlight of the week. That was really exciting. I really like it when the sirens go off. It really makes me pretty excited. And then we came in here, and the men and the women's teams are tucked over here, and they're waiting to be paraded in here, which is a very proud moment for both teams. I've told them that this is the start of their journey. They've managed to get into, let's face it, this is the hardest team in the world to get into in rugby sevens. They've done the first step, but they all know now that to be successful now, to wear the shirt with pride, they've got a lot of hard work, a lot of concentration, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of ability to be able to switch on, flick the switch to concentrate when you need to and relax when you need to. And if anyone can find Semi Kuntani's switch, that would be great, because he's so laid back. That's if he's selected, of course. And they'll be going to the games. I also like to say social media is pretty active over the last few weeks. I've been seeing the other teams' names as they've been coming in this week, and one of the guys in Sky TV in England said, "When's the team getting named?" I said, "It's getting named tonight by our Prime Minister." And Sky said, "I don't think you'll find Theresa May coming up and naming the Great Britain team." And I think it shows you how passionate we are in this country. It signifies to us the importance that this is a nations team. Out of the competing nations in the Olympic Games, in the Rugby Sevens, we will be the only team that we will have the leader of our nation, our Prime Minister, come up to name the side. And I would like to also say at this point that without the government support that we've had through the Fiji Sports Council and the government, there's no way we would have got the boys into the shape they've had. And we intend on fully repaying that. We've given every ounce of ability and talent that the boys can provide on the field in Rio in a few weeks' time. So we might not get the chance to say too much, because as soon as we get to Rio, the boys are getting their phones confiscated off me and we're on lockdown. So the public opinion appearances will diminish as we get closer to the games. So finally, I'd just like to take this opportunity. There's a lot of people in this room that I can personally, over the last 3 years, say you've thanked me and you've helped me and the team enormously. We're very grateful for that. And when we go on the field and we're waiting in the changing rooms for the 2-minute call before we go into the tunnel to play our first game against Brazil at 1:30 on August the 9th, you should be proud, and you should know that you're all part of this journey. So big Banaka, a level Banaka.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Another round of applause for Mr. Ben Ryan. Please, one more round of applause. Not a very easy task for him. The moment that we've been waiting for, and the gentleman who'll do the honors this evening to introduce first the women's sevens team and then the men's. He and his wife are the first to make their pledge to the campaign, the Road to Gold campaign, and we're ever so thankful. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the FRU President and our Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Josiah Morenge Wainamama.
The Honourable Ministers, Road to Gold sponsors, government officials, the Fiji Rugby Union officials, excuse me, players and management, invited guests, and Fiji Rugby supporters in Fiji and around the world. Bula Vinaka, and a good evening to you all. It is my pleasure to be here with you all at this Road to Gold fundraising cocktail. and to officially announce the names of the men and women who will be representing Fiji on our 7 sides at the 2016 Olympics. In Rio, less than a month from today, Fijian rugby will be displayed on a stage larger than ever before. Hundreds of millions of people will be watching. And for the first time, the Olympic audience will have the chance to experience the exciting game of 7s rugby. I have the unique privilege of serving as Prime Minister and as President of the Fiji Rugby Union. And let me tell you, this is a historic occasion for Fiji. We have in front of us an opportunity to show a global audience the caliber and class of Fijian rugby. To show them how a small island nation can consistently remain on top of the rugby world. It is our moment, so let's seize it and show them what we are made of. Our flying Fijians and Fijianas are the pride of our nation. On our women's side, coaches Chris Cracknell and Ilyasa Tanimula have selected the following players to represent Fiji in Rio. And I would like to, if at all possible, to have the coach and management up the front first, please. Kawesi Rapate. Sorry, I got the wrong list here. Matthew Dudley. Ilyasa Samson Monde. Jennifer Kelly. And Christopher Cracknell. And the Fijiana team is as follows. Aseanava, Lavinia Tinai, Lydia Negato, Luisa Tisolo, Merewai Dubu, Raichieli Davua, Rebecca Tabo, Rusila Nangasau, Timaima Ravisa, Timaima Tamoy, Vinyana Riwai, and the traveling reserve is Joanna Soto. And the captain, ladies and gentlemen, is Ana Rongida. Ladies and gentlemen, our Fijiana team for the Olympics. Thank you. Our men's side, Ropati Kawesi, management and team, please. Benjamin Ryan, Nabani Lawanimbuka, and William Kum. they have selected the following players. Apisain Tonglelai. Chasa Bermanua. Joshua Tuisoba. Kijone Lawai. Leone Nakarawa. Samsoni Nasangabesi. Samanana Rawala. Semi Punatani. Wadiamo Romobo. Vilame Mata. Terminuza Masilesi Dabuama. Yes, go ahead. And our captain, ladies and gentlemen, is Osea Kolimsa. Congratulations to those runners who have been chosen. We cannot wait to see you play, and I know that all those Fijians who will not be able to make it to Rio will be glued to the television for every minute of the action. In 2012, the Honorable Ilyas Andalana, our current Assistant Minister for Sports, brought home Fiji's first gold medal in the Paralympics. And that was a remarkable achievement. And our 7 sides have the talent, they have the skill and coaching to do the same by bringing back Fiji's first ever Summer Olympic gold. Make no mistake, the rugby in Rio will be the most competitive you've ever played, because to win gold for your country is the greatest feat a team can achieve. And in Rio, Fiji will be the team to beat. If you don't bring the intensity, if you don't bring the desire to win, your opposition will. But if you do, we all know what you are capable of. If you do, the gold is yours for the taking. I would wish you luck, but we all know that it is your preparation and willpower that will determine your success. So do your best and make us proud. Thank you again. Thank you again to the rest of the players. Thank you to our coaches and team staff, the Fiji Association of Sports and National Olympic Committee. Thank you to our sponsors and donors and all the fans out there for their support. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, I'm speaking to our athletes here, our flying Fijians and Fijiana. We wish you every success in Rio, and we look forward to you bringing home Fiji's first ever Summer Olympic gold. Thank you. God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, another round of applause for the FRU President, the Honourable Prime Minister, of course, Mr. Josea Borege Bainimarama. Can we all give him another round of applause? Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.